Hey guys, welcome back to Salesforce Made Simple. In today's video, we are going to walk through how to build a birthday email flow inside of Salesforce. So I built something like this for a client recently and thought I'd make a video about it. The story behind this is that the client wanted to build an automation that detected a contact's birthday and then send them a happy birthday email automatically. The client actually used a custom object record. For this example, we're just going to use a contact record. It should log an email message on the contact record after the email was sent, so in the future, if users go back to that contact record, they can know that the happy birthday message was sent out successfully. So the requirements are that the flow is going to run every day. It will be able to differentiate between contacts who have a birthday today and who don't have a birthday today. It will of course send out the email. It'll log that email on the contact page so that users can later come back and see. And we need to do some pre-work to kind of get this flow working. So we will build an email template, we're going to build an email alert, and then we're also going to build a custom formula field. And the formula field is really important, and you'll see why in a second. So let's transition to Salesforce, and we'll just jump over here. I have a Salesforce developer org open. You can follow along in a sandbox if you'd like. So the first thing I want to do is just look at my contacts tab. And I'm going to tab over to all contacts, and I just want to make sure that we do have some contacts present. I'm going to pin that list, and we do, so that looks pretty good. And so now that we have a list of contacts here, I can actually click the setup menu and just click edit object, and we're going to start off by building our formula field. So the formula field is going to make finding the contacts who have a birthday today way easier. So I'm going to click Fields and Relationships, and I'm going to create a new field. And this is going to be a formula field. We'll press Next. And we're going to label this field Birthday is Today. And we can put a question mark after it. And the formula return type will be a checkbox. We'll press Next. And I'm going to click over to the Advanced Formula Builder, and we're just going to type out some logic here that I've used before. So we're going to do if, open parenthesis, we'll hit the Enter button twice, we'll type and, open parenthesis, then we're going to type day, open parenthesis, today, open parenthesis, close parenthesis, equals, and then I'm going to press Insert Field, I'm going to select Birth Date, click Insert, and I'm going to wrap the birth date field with day. We're going to do a comma there because this is the first clause of our AND statement, and we're going to repeat this, but instead we're going to type month, open parenthesis, today, open close parenthesis, equals month, open parenthesis, and then I'm going to double click the birth date, copy that with my keyboard by pressing Ctrl+C, click down next to my open parenthesis, paste that in there, and then I'll do a closing parenthesis. I'll do another closing parenthesis to close out the AND statement. I'll do a comma to indicate the return statement if the above logic is true, and because this is a checkbox, we'll just flag it as true. I'll press Enter twice, and then do false as the false condition, and do a closing parenthesis. I'm going to check the syntax, and it works. So let's pause here for a moment and just kind of review what we've built. I'll leave the formula up on the screen so you can copy it. This is an if statement that is checking if the birth date of the contact is today's date. And we're doing that by first comparing the day today to the day of the birth date. So today's the 30th of the month. If the 30th of the month, which is today, is the same day as the birth date, so the birth date would be the 30th, then that clause would be true. And again, if the month today, so today's May, this evaluates to the number 5. If the month today equals the month of the birth date, then we know it is for a fact that contact's birthday. We don't include the year because we want this to be true for every birthday in the contact's lifetime, not just the year that they were born. So I'm going to press next. Might take a second to load. There it goes. I'm going to make it visible to everyone and press next. I'm going to add it to every layout and press save. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to navigate back to our contacts tab, and I'm going to select the little gear icon for the all contacts related list, and I'm going to change the fields to display. Then I'm going to scroll down to the birthday ones. So we see the birthday and birthday is today fields are both there. I'm going to highlight both of them and move them over to the visible fields. And then I'm going to move them up. And I'm going to put them right under the account name and press save. And so what we can see here is that now for all of the birthdays in Salesforce, or excuse me, all the contacts in Salesforce, there's a checkbox that checks if today is their birthday. So there's several contacts here that don't have a birth date, so let's fill them in. Today's May 30th, so I'll do May 30th and we'll say 1980. And then I could do May 30th, 1992, and then maybe May 30th, 2010, and press save. And we see what happens is our formula evaluates, and it's looking at today's date in the Salesforce database, and it says, okay, today's May 30th, and that equals the month and day of this person's birthday. So we're going to return true in this formula type. And that's really helpful because now we're going to be able to filter on this checkbox in our scheduled triggered flow. We'll be able to tell the flow, hey, just go find every contact where this checkbox is true, and then you'll know for a fact it's their birthday. So that takes care of an important piece of the puzzle, and we'll come back to that a little bit later. Now we need to create an email template that lets us send out a standard email. So I'm going to open up the setup menu, and I'll type in classic email templates. And what I'm going to do is create a new template, and we'll just select the text email template type and press next. You could do an HTML template if you wanted some really nice branding and some images in there, but for the purpose of this video, text should be fine. So I'm going to press next while it'll load. We'll mark this template available for use. We'll call it the happy birthday email. For subject, we'll say happy birthday. And for the body, I'm going to use these available merge fields up here. And I'm just going to pull the first name field from the list. And I'm just going to copy that with my clipboard, and I'll say hi, space, first name, say happy birthday. The entire Universal Container team hopes you make it a great one. Best. So just something really simple there. You may want to add more to this if you're actually going to use this in a live environment, but I'll let you make that decision. The point of this is just to show you that you can send out an email. So I'll press save, and we're just going to verify that it's in the unfiled public classic email templates folder. And that's important because you want your flow to be able to access this. I think any folder would work just so long as it's not the my personal templates. So we have our email template. Now I'm going to type in email alert. We'll just select that. Press continue. I'm going to press new email alert, and we'll just call this happy birthday email. The object will be the contact object. And the email template, I'm going to click the magnifying glass. It's going to open up a window. And we'll just click that newly created happy birthday email. For the recipient type, we will say email. We'll just move the email field over. And the from email address, we will use the default workflow user's email address. You may have an additional option there to use an org-wide email address. That's totally fine. This developer environment doesn't happen to have any org-wide email addresses, so that's why I'm selecting the default workflow user. I'm going to press save. And so now we have our custom formula field, our email alert, and our email template. We're almost ready to build our flow. I'm just going to go check some settings on the back end here. The first of which is the process automation. And I just want to make sure that we have a default workflow user defined, because that's where the email is being sent from. So we see that's filled in, that's good. And then a second thing I'm going to do is just click Enhanced Email, and I want to make sure that this is enabled. I see that it is. I'm just going to disable it and then re-enable it. I've had some bugs in the past where that's been the solution, oddly enough. Feel free to skip that step if you're very comfortable that Enhanced Email is enabled for you. This is important for us to be able to log the email to the contact record. So we've taken care of the basic pre-work now. I'm going to type in the word flow, pull up the flows in the org, and then I'm going to click New Flow. And so we're going to build our flow, and we need to select a scheduled triggered flow. I'm going to press Create. I'm going to change the layout to freeform. And now we need to define a schedule. So I'll click Set Schedule. I'll pick today's date, the 30th. I'll set the time maybe as 1 p.m. That's 20 minutes from now, so we might actually change that. Actually, why don't I just do 12:50? It's about 10 minutes. Frequency, we want this to run daily. So with a scheduled triggered flow, it's going to run every day at the start time, and your frequency determines how often it runs. So you can either do once, daily, or weekly. Because we need to check birthdays every single day, we're going to pick the daily frequency and press Done. The object that we're going to run on will be the contact object, because that's who we want to send emails to. There's going to be two conditions for this, and the first is our custom formula field. Birthday is today, and we're going to set that to be true. So just a reminder, that's that checkbox right here, and it makes it really easy. Oops, let me get back to the flow. To sort through all the contacts with that custom formula field, and that's why I chose to do it. You can filter the contacts without a formula field, but it's a little bit more challenging. The second condition that we need to include is that the email field of the contact is not null. So we'll say is null, false. And this will prevent any errors from contact records who don't have an email address. I'm going to press Done, and then I'm going to press Save, and we'll just call this contact-scheduled-happy birthday email. We'll press Save. And so now we can drag an action to the canvas, and we'll filter to the type selection in the filter by dropdown, and we'll pick email alert. We'll select the email alert, and we have one available here, which is the happy birthday email. So we'll select that. We'll label it send happy birthday email. And the record ID will just be provided to us by the global variables section. And you see down here that we can select the record, which is the contact that we're currently working with. So we'll click that, and then we'll just type in ID and scroll down and select the contact ID. So Salesforce makes it really easy for us to just pass in the record ID that we're currently working with that global variable. And we're going to take advantage of that because it really simplifies the email creation process from the flow. So we'll press Done, and then we're going to connect our start element to our send email alert element and press Save. And I know for the next step that I actually need the developer name of our email template. So I'm going to go back to this Flows tab here. I'm going to type in email templates. I'm going to click Classic Email Templates and open up that Happy Birthday email. And the field I'm looking for here is the Happy Birthday email unique name. So it's the one with the underscores in it. And I'm going to copy that to my clipboard by highlighting it and then pressing Control-C on my keyboard. I'm going to navigate back to the flow. And the reason we're doing that is so that I can drag a Get Records element to the canvas. I'm going to call this Get Email Template. And the object that we're looking for will be the email template object. And we're going to filter the email template that we're looking for by searching for the email template whose developer name, also known as the template unique name, which is the field that we just copied here, equals the happy birthday value that we copied and pasted to our clipboard. And so the reason that we're doing this is that we're going to store all the fields of this template. And because Salesforce is storing all the fields, it's going to allow us to reference the subject and body of the email dynamically when we log the email message. So now that that's on the canvas, I'm going to connect the email alert with the get records and press save. And now the final addition to our canvas here is that we need to drag a create records to the canvas. And we're going to call this log email message. We're going to create one record, and we're going to use separate resources in literal values, and we're going to create a record of the email message object. So I'm going to type in the word email and select email message. I'm going to press add field a couple times, and this will let us define the fields that our email message will contain. So when I click this, we see a bunch of fields pop up. We can select those fields that we want to log as our email message. So I know we'll need the subject, we'll probably need the body, like so it's called text body. We can do the status. We could do the from address. We could do the to address. That's probably good enough. I'm going to delete this last field, and we're going to just try it out like this. So for the subject, I can click the input value selection, and this is where our record single variable for the email template comes in handy. I can click open the record single variable and just scroll down and select body or subject from the list. And the reason that we're doing it like this is in case anyone comes back later and updates the subject of the email template, our email message that's being logged will also have those updates. And so that'll cut down on long-term maintenance and confusion if they were by chance to be different. So I'm going to click the input value again, select our record single variable for the get email template. I'm going to scroll down, right here. I'm going to select email body. So that's what I was looking for. I just want to make sure there's no text body field. I don't see that there is, so that's good. We'll just pick email body. Status, when you click this open, Salesforce provides different pick list values for you. I'm going to pick sent, and for whatever reason, Salesforce puts that in as a 3. I don't know why, it's a mystery, but it works for me. For the from address, we're going to scroll down, and we'll just use the user email. So that's the email of the default workflow user. And the to address, this is an interesting field. So for a custom object, what you could do is do record, and if you're working with a custom object, you could select the record ID, like this. So if you ever need to repurpose this flow for a custom object, I would recommend you probably do it this way. And instead of doing the to address, you would actually do the related to ID. Because we're working with a contact, it's kind of unique. So we can actually put in the contact ID as the to address, and because a contact, a lead, and a person account are treated rather uniquely by the email messages, this should work. So I say should because I've seen it work in some scenarios, and we're going to try it here. So I'll press done. I'll connect our get records to our log email message and press save. So that's saved. Now let's debug this once, and we'll run the flow in rollback mode and press run. So we get an error. Let's troubleshoot what that is. And so typically when there's an error in the flow builder, you'll get a more descriptive debug log. Like right here, it doesn't even evaluate the debug log at all, which is rather unusual. You know, we would expect it to at least kick off the flow somehow and then show us the pathing functionality, like, these lines would light up as yellow and they would tell us step by step whether or not the flow is working. So given that that is not what happened here, I think that for some reason the flow is unable to evaluate that stuff, and so that this error might be related to some of the merge fields that we have. And so that's my first guess and what I kind of want to take a look at. So I'll click Edit Flow, and I mean, if we look at the different flow items, there's not really, the merge fields really come into play with the log email message. And the two specifically are the ones that we're pulling from the template. So let's start maybe just by getting rid of, the second one. Press done, and we'll see if the flow can even run with just the subject. And if not, we'll get rid of the subject and just kind of whittle it down that way. So I'm going to press debug again. We'll run this in rollback mode. I'm going to press run. Interesting. So this time the flow ran through all the way. So if we look at the create records, we see that the subject did evaluate to happy birthday. So for some reason when we're putting in the body of the email, it's not working. So maybe if we go look at our email body, we can get a clue. Well, maybe this, maybe the contact first name isn't working. I guess that would make sense if, just trying to think this through. I guess, so maybe what's happening is when we look up all the fields on the email template, and the text merge field here for the contact first name works fine when we send the email alert, but when we're logging our email message here, there is no contact related to the email template, so the merge field can't even evaluate. So I guess unfortunately, if we want to have the actual text of the email show up in our body here, we'll probably have to copy paste it in and create like a text template to virtualize the email template body, because we can't directly reference the contact first name and then use that on the email message, because when it evaluates there's no contact to pair it with. That's my theory anyway. So I'm going to go over here to the manager, and we're just going to create a new resource, and this will be a text template resource. And I'll just call this email body. I'm going to switch the type of text to plain text, and I'm just going to paste in the email body template directly from our original email. So we'll get that in here, and then I'm going to remove the contact first name, and so that we get the same effect, I'm going to again use the global record variable. I'm going to select record, and then I'm just going to find that first name field. So this should allow us to create the message body of our email message. Unfortunately, for long-term maintenance, someone would have to come back here and make the updates, but I suppose that's better than nothing. So let's once again find the text body here, and now we'll map that to our text template that we just created. Let's press done and save it, and let's debug this and see how it goes. So we'll run it in rollback mode and press run, and sure enough that works. Alright, so that was the error, something with the merge field wasn't working, and we see here that our email body using our text template did evaluate properly. So that'll work just fine. What we can do now is click Edit Flow, and then we can schedule this to run. So I'm going to schedule this to run in the future, and then I'm actually going to go take a lunch break. I'll be back, and we can see if the flow sends out the emails the way we would expect. Now, depending on your environment, you may not actually want to send out emails to people. If you're working in a production or an environment where you have real client data, I would recommend not sending out the scheduled flow, just to make sure you don't email clients by accident. But if you're in a developer org, this should be fine. So I'm going to activate this, and then let's just kind of talk about what we would expect to happen. So we see that we have 3 contacts here who have a birthday marked as today, and those are the 3 that we updated earlier. However, only 2 of them have an email filled in. So we would expect that when our flow runs at its scheduled time, that both Andy Young and Jack Rogers would have email messages created and logged on their behalf. So I'm going to open up these 2 contacts, and once again we'll pause the video, and in a little bit, once the flow runs, then we will see if it ran as expected. And so we are back. Where we left off, we had these 2 contacts that we thought would have emails logged to them because they both have emails filled in and their birthdays are both today, so we opened them up. So over here on the right, we see that there are no email messages for this Jack Rogers or Andy Young. So let's refresh Andy and then go and refresh Jack. And if everything worked, then theoretically the emails were sent and something should be logged over here on the right. And that's what we see. So happy birthday. Email message went out and came from the address of my user in Salesforce. And yeah, it looks great. It was sent, it got the to address in there, got the from address, it has the date and time. So that looks really good for Jack. Now let's look at Andy, and he also has one. So that's awesome. Let's open it up. And yeah, hi Andy, happy birthday. The entire Universal Container team hopes you make it a great one. Best. And then, all the details are in there. So I would say that we nailed the challenge. We met the requirements here. I think we did it really well. So what I would say is that we could recap what we've done. So we had a user story here where we wanted automation to send out a happy birthday email. So we built out an email template, we built out an email alert, and we used a custom formula to narrow down the contacts to just those contacts who have a birthday today. And that formula made our Salesforce Flow really easy to launch by just putting in a true or false value for that formula field. We attached an email alert action to our scheduled triggered flow, and then we looked up our email template in order to log a message. We did find one bug where having a merge field, where is it? Here, in the classic email template, caused a problem for the flow. So we created a text template instead to represent the body of the email. Then we debugged it and it appeared to work in debug mode, so we activated it, and then we've validated that it worked for these 2 contacts. So great job if you made it this far. I hope you found this helpful, and have a great day. Hey guys, hope you found that helpful. Make sure to like and subscribe, and feel free to leave me a comment with what flow you'd like me to build next. If you're interested in learning more about flows, use the link in the description to check out my course on Udemy. It has over 9 hours of video tutorials just like this one designed to make you a flow builder ninja as quickly as possible. For a limited time, the course is 30% off. This coupon is going to expire 28 days from today, so don't wait, go to Udemy and enroll right now. With that said, have a great day.